Can they take your citizenship away? That's today's topic. My name is Sam Shihab with the law firm of Shihab Burke, and with me,
Brian Burke from Shihab Burke here in Dublin, Ohio, in these United States. It's Wednesday at 6 p.m. We're here to talk about an issue.
Yes, and we do this twice a week for right now for half an hour, 6 o'clock Eastern Time, Wednesdays and Mondays. And we are going to spend about 10 minutes or less, try to talk about an issue of interest, and then move on to answer questions that you asked us. We will begin with immigrationquestions.us questions. This is our website, and we will answer these questions first, or some of them, and then we'll move on. And if you forgot to drop that question in that portal during the week, you can simply post it on YouTube, and we will get to it if we can, and we'll do the best we can to answer as many questions as possible. Can they take your citizenship away is today's topic. And let's dispose of the simple one first.
Yeah, sure.
The easy one.
Yep.
U.S. citizen born in the U.S.
Native born in this country, yeah.
Native born.
Yeah.
Today.
Yep.
Can they take it? Can they take that citizenship away from that person?
No. Only you can give that up voluntarily.
Okay.
Yeah.
Extremely narrow conditions,
Yeah.
not even worth talking about.
Yeah.
The next thing we want to talk about for birth in the U.S. is obviously the birthright citizenship is a hot topic right now.
Yeah.
Cool
down a little bit. It's on the back burner for a bit, but it's still going on in the courts, right?
Yeah, no question. The Supreme Court is going to rule on that. All experts say that if you are born in the United States, you are a citizen, and our president would like to change that equation. Yeah. And it's likely that the Supreme Court, Brian, will tell him, go to Congress, don't come to me.
I don't know. Well, it remains to be seen. I think predicting the Supreme Court can be is something that, involves putting one's foot in one's mouth sometimes, because they can surprise you.
Still up in the air.
Yeah, as I think that that they may possibly do a split for those who are here lawfully and those who are here unlawfully, for example.
Naturalized U.S. citizen.
Naturalized U.S. citizen. Yeah.
Can they take that away?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
So let's focus our attention on how can they take the citizenship of a naturalized U.S. citizen.
Yeah.
And in what venue? Let's begin with that.
Yeah.
Only federal court.
Yeah.
No.
Well, no, there's a denaturalization. I thought they can do it administrative now.
No.
Yeah.
Only federal court can denaturalize. You have to go to the federal court. You have to file a civil action. The government has to say, we're asking to denaturalize a person because, and that's where the firework began.
Sure.
I may have some interesting numbers here, Brian, so you kind of a little bit of a perspective.
Yeah.
So Obama administration.
Oh yes, I was looking into this issue as well this afternoon.
Obama administration denaturalized 11 people per year, and that's really a consistent number from 1990 to 2017. Now, part of the problem, Brian, back then, is that there was no way to tie a lot of people together with biometrics.
Yeah.
So there was thousands of people who were had order of deportation, ended up becoming naturalized U.S. citizen, and there was no way to connect them. So our system got better. I mean, in
electronic record keeping, it makes it good. I mean, we have 50 states that where people can be born in, and all sorts of municipalities and localities issuing birth certificates. And one of the things of the prior Trump administration is they're going basically looking back to make sure people were really born in the United States. Not a program they had a major success in, which would be success for that would be denaturalization of somebody. But yeah, it's something they definitely tried.
88 during the 8 years of Obama administration.
Yeah.
Trump administration turned it up a notch. And during the first year, they filed for 94.
First three years.
In the first 3 years. Yeah, 94, which is a significant increase.
Yeah.
Now, here's the interesting thing. But they looked into thousands of people. I mean, they evaluated thousands of cases trying to denaturalize. But the total cases filed during his term is approximately 100 cases during his 4-year term. Biden administration, there's no count. There's no number available. There's no public information. However, the apparatus that Trump created to denaturalize individuals, he did not dismantle it. He kept it going.
Yeah.
Now we go back to Trump 2.0, and I think he put it back on steroid.
Yeah.
He passed an executive order, issued an executive order, which he said, I want to denaturalize people who obtain their naturalization incorrectly. I want full effort in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, those people who got naturalized unlawfully, it was always amongst their means to denaturalize somebody who was naturalized unlawfully by concealing, the truth about you, by becoming members of certain organizations after you. That's always been in the book, but it's basically him saying, I want to accelerate that. I want to do more of that, right?
Yeah, so you just said something, and I want to pause, because when I was preparing for this presentation, and I knew some of the stuff, but I didn't know everything, because I went out and read a little bit and studied, and I was surprised to find out that you can lose your citizenship if you become a member of an organization that would have caused a denial of your naturalization anytime 5 years after you became a naturalized U.S. citizen.
So, hypothetically, swear in, I'm a United States citizen, and I become, a member of, I don't know, a terrorist organization, right? One that
within the first
5 years, that's enough for them to denaturalize you.
Yeah, and this is a very old law from the Second World War that stayed on the books, that action occurring after you're being naturalized. And the second one here is refusing to testify in a proceeding before Congress within 10 years of naturalization.
Yeah.
Can cause you to lose your citizenship.
After you naturalize,
Yeah, so those are a big deal, and those are easy stuff to pick up. People doing activities not knowing, and all of a sudden.
I mean, the scary thing is, what's a group that would have prevented your naturalization in the first place, and that's, curtailing political involvement for, newly naturalized U.S. citizens, which is one of the big benefits of being a citizen, is that you are politically involved. You are allowed to vote. You can run for office, things like that. So that's sort of an interesting, thing there.
Now, we come down to loss of, to denaturalization. It's the normal stuff. The first one is your green card was procured.
Yeah.
Unlawfully.
Yeah, if they ever think you didn't get your citizenship the right way, I was reading Kurzban's reference book. There was a court case over something they said on their DS-156, like the old non-immigrant visa application. A court case about if you lied on that, meaning you got to the United States unlawfully, you got permanent residence unlawfully, and they were coming after somebody's citizenship in that case.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, now that guy won that case because it was a messed up question, but still, they were going back that far.
They were going back that far. So if they can prove that you should not have received the green card to begin with, one can lose their
we've encountered that case in this office before, where somebody came to us probably within the last year trying to naturalize, and basically they said, ooh, you didn't get your permanent residence lawfully, so we can't naturalize you. They said you're a permanent resident, but not one that's lawful. I think this was somebody who had USCIS granted them permanent residence despite the fact that they had removal proceedings open. And as our colleague Joe is dealing with this one, is basically they said, we can't naturalize you because you got approved your permanent residence, in a wrong way. Yeah.
You can lose your naturalization if they prove that you did not have a good moral character 5 years preceding the naturalization. They can go back and revisit that, and they said, oh, we did not know about this domestic violence case.
Yeah.
Oh, we did not know about the alimony case, the child support case. We did not know about this incident.
Well, all these things are about, concealing facts, because if, raise your hand if you've done a citizenship application before, at least I prepared one, I'm native born, but they will ask you questions on that application about your activities in the United States. They'll ask you, have you ever been donated money to terrorist organizations? Have you ever failed to pay your taxes? Have you ever had any criminal record? And if they figure out later down the line that, you didn't tell them the truth, they can go back and use those things against you.
They can denaturalize you if you did not meet the physical presence requirement. They can go back and look at that again.
If they find out things that
the dates were wrong, or you did not provide right dates, or you spend more than 6 months continuity of residence, more than 6 months outside the United States, and you did not declare that.
Yeah. So I mean, historically, I would tell people, nobody's immigration application of any sort is absolutely perfect. Does that sound like a crazy thing to say? Because I strive for perfection. Perfection is something to be strived for, never achieved, right? But I think, and historically, I'd say, no application is perfect. The government doesn't, really go back and look at the average person's application. I think in this modern climate we're in, you have to be a little bit more paranoid about the content of your applications, strive a little bit further for perfection.
So clearly this administration is national security focused.
Sure. That's what immigration is, a national security issue.
So anyone that they believe is a threat to the national security, in their opinion, as they view it, now people can change. In their opinion,
my binoculars.
They can definitely make a case almost.
Yeah, I mean.
So the vulnerability is real for anybody almost.
Yeah, if they. Yeah, so I guess what we were saying. Maybe I'm not getting it right. It's basically if you come to their attention, they think your activities where you're at right now are counter to their interests. They can basically put the magnifying glass and start looking back. Was everything you told us correctly? Was there something you shielded?
It has to be material.
Yeah,
it has to be material
for sure.
But the moral character, the good moral character, it's a shades of gray situation.
Well, you didn't tell us X, Y, Z, but a moral person would have done that. They can sort of, even if it's something that I think the government is very good at finding materiality where there's not,
if they want to, if they want to, right?
You don't want to have a court case over immigration.
I mean, obviously, a judge in California, sitting in California or in D.C., might be more sympathetic than a judge sitting in Texas, because obviously, judges have their own colored with their own belief. So that's another issue, is who you're going to appear before. So a person who is living in Texas may be more vulnerable than a person who's living in California.
Now, I want to bring up one more thing that's just in my mind, an interesting case we worked a few years back. It's basically a case of, we gave you citizenship and we shouldn't have. It's, you never were a citizen. We dealt with the issue of a child of diplomats born in the United States who basically, they gave him a U.S. passport.
That's an error, given an error.
Give it an error.
They just refused to renew the passport.
Yeah, so things like that can happen as well. If they find that they gave something in error, and this guy I don't believe he had a certificate of citizenship, it's basically, they stopped giving him a passport and said, oops, we made a mistake 20 or 30 years ago when we gave you U.S. citizenship. You're done. You're not a U.S. citizen.
Last but not least, citizenship under the Child Citizenship Act, which requires that the child enters the United States under the custody of their parents to join their parents in the U.S.
Yeah, as a permanent resident.
Yes. And there is case law now that when the parents came in to effectuate this law, they just sat for a short period of time, for 60 days.
We've had this case in our office,
We've had this case in our office, and and there's cases in court. Court just decided because the parents didn't stay long enough, it was did not fulfill the spirit of the law, and the passport was not renewed. So the
scenario is, U.S. citizen parents bring their kids who are born abroad to the United States to make them permanent residents here. And if you don't really stick around long enough,
make them
to make them U.S. citizens, because there's a law that says permanent resident kids living with their citizen parents in the United States, they're citizens as well. But if you only came around to basically get that citizenship, you didn't establish residence in the United States for those kids, they don't become citizens.
And they can visit that.
Yeah.
And we've seen that where you go into a passport renewal and they take the passport, they say, no, your parents didn't stay in the U.S. long enough. We think they came in to just trick us into getting that law.
And I guess the fun thing, and we got to move up onto our questions, is these seem like really kind of extreme scenarios, and we have a pretty decent stack of them that we can just sort of bring up from our anecdotes.
Yeah. So the answer is yes, they can take your citizenship away. We move to questions from immigrationquestions.us. This is our website. This allows you to drop questions during the week. Hey, I got a question. Instead of writing it down and logging in and being on time, you can just go into that portal and just drop it there in that portal. And we're going to review the good ones, and we're going to try to address as many as the good ones as we can, so your questions can be answered. And we're kind of trying to improve this portal. We're hoping that to be able to give you an email that we're going to answer your question or something like that in the works. But Brian, we've picked some good questions. Let's go into immigrationquestions.us and answer a couple of them.
So first one I have here is from Ranjani from a couple days back. Hello, daughter has green card August 2022 and turned 14 last week. Should I-90 be sufficient for alien registration, Or do we need to do the G325R as well? An I-90 is a green card renewal application, but that's not something you need if you're already a permanent resident, already have a green card. But I would encourage anybody who's questioning the registration requirements to go to the registration page on the USCIS website, right? And I'm going to put a link to it right here in the chat just for everybody's benefit. And basically, on the list of things is who is already registered. Lawful permanent residents are already registered. That's that.
So that takes care of it.
Yeah.
So for him, the fact that his child turned 14 means does not require him to register.
Yeah, lawful. So I will say, if you go through this registration page, it's basically they say that if there's no harm and no foul in registering if you're not required to.
It's about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And there are some ridiculous questions, but if you go through them and submit, you're done.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal, and if you do it and you don't have to do it, they're not going to send you a bill. All right, let's take the next one.
Yeah, from Rahul here a little bit later. For G325R, that's the registration form online. Do all H4 minor kids need to create separate accounts in USCIS for submission? Is it also needed for current H1 and H4 visa holders? So, again, I put that link in the chat because I think maybe we have to do a sort of session on registration to sort of delve deeply into those issues. But generally, once somebody reaches 14, I believe the policy here will say they have to create an account. Your parents would probably help a 14-year-old do it. And when it comes to who has to register, like H1 and H4 holders, there's a very clear list about who is already registered, and who must register is the bottom line. So basically, one of the interesting things is when you cross the threshold age of 14, registration is required, even if you are technically considered registered before you reach the age of 14. But I think maybe we do a session next week on the subject of registration because the questions are short coming up. So tune in for that next week, and I think I'm going to push for that topic.
I'm not committing to it yet. But Brian is excited about the registration.
I'm committing that I'm going to try to convince him to do it.
We'll talk about it.
Let's see here. I'm not going to give the name, but I submitted an N400 in January. Then I decided I shouldn't attend the N400 interview. So I sent a letter, FO for withdrawal, and at the same time I filed I-90 to extend green card. Would it create any difficulty in I-90 application?
So the elephant in the room.
The missing piece?
The missing piece.
Yeah.
The reason why you did not go forward to renew your to apply for naturalization, it could be a very benign non-issue, but if it's big enough for you to worry about naturalization, it might be big enough for a renewal
I think
of the green card under the current circumstances.
An answer I 100% agree with, yeah. Let's see here, from Banti. Got my green card for 10-year E27 category. We got GC together after marriage since she was in EAD. I have my I-140 approved from my employer. Since I came to the U.S. on my own H-1B. Concerned divorce filing date is April 2016, filed by my ex-wife before I got the green card in July 2016. Date of marriage was October 2015, almost 7 months after almost 7 months of marriage. There's no interview for green card. Should I go for N400? So I think what somebody's saying here is that basically employment-based green card scenario, I got married pretty quickly before we got the green cards, and basically, fundamentally, they're going to say.
And quickly got divorced.
Yeah, are they going to be asking about fraud?
They might.
They can.
Yeah, they might. So be prepared. I mean, listen. If this marriage was not legit, you got a problem.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just talk straight here.
Yeah.
And I. Clearly, we as attorneys do not judge people.
Yeah.
We look forward. The only time that we are required to turn people in if somebody's trying to kill somebody or something, or committed a crime or something, or will kill somebody.
Yeah,
then
we can't obviously be involved in
But if you've done it and there's fraud involved, you got a problem. Don't apply for naturalization. If this is a true marriage that really fell apart and very unfortunate, build your case, work with a lawyer.
Yeah.
Build your evidence, be prepared, and go for naturalization if this is a true bona fide marriage.
Yeah, I mean, in the immigration laws, they talk about whether they evaluate marriage from its inception. You know, when you enter into marriage, was it legitimate at the time? But you have a real challenge if your marriage fell apart very fast to prove legitimacy in the beginning.
But you can prove it.
Yeah,
you can prove it. Very legitimate.
I like a good challenge.
Very legitimate marriages can fall very quickly.
Yeah.
You discovered the partner was cheating.
Yeah.
You discovered,
change the facts around.
The first year of the marriage is the most challenging part, and sometimes people don't survive it.
First year of my marriage was fantastic.
Well, I'm not talking about
I'm over 10 years. I'm over 10 years deep. I'm doing fantastic.
And I'm not going to apply for a green card for you or for your wife.
Okay, well that's good.
Next one.
I hope my wife is watching. I'm going to get some brownie points up there. From Alex, would an old unresolved speeding ticket, traffic infraction, no arrest, by itself be grounds for denial of I-45? What if there isn't an arrest? Isn't an arrest warrant based upon the ticket? So a very easy question with a very interesting one after it.
But there's a very easy answer.
Yeah.
If it's unresolved, resolve it.
Yeah.
Resolve it. Hire a lawyer in that locality. Go to the court. Get it done.
Yeah.
Pay the ticket.
Yeah.
Talk to the judge. Get it resolved.
Yeah. If it's a minor traffic infraction, it sounds inherently resolvable.
So again, scenarios: if there is an arrest warrant, or if there is not an arrest warrant, is irrelevant to me. Vis-a-vis the solution that you have to do is to fix it, and a lot of unpaid tickets for speeding over 10 miles an hour can result in a.
I guess I see a lot of incongruity in a speeding ticket plus arrest warrant.
There is an arrest warrant for not paying speeding ticket. You will get one.
I guess I've never not paid a speeding ticket.
100%.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. There's which is crazy.
Yeah, you don't pay the. Yeah, I guess you don't pay the fine.
Yeah.
Your fines. Yeah. Resolvable though with the help of a local criminal attorney as well. So Sam, I guess we should sort of transition to our sort of live questions.
Yeah. So thank you for those who dropped questions in advance to help us kind of get things organized and allow us to be a little bit more prepared. Sometimes some of those questions allow us to give you a better answer if you go to immigrationquestions.us.
Oh, I just took it down. You're putting it back up again?
For a minute.
All right. I'm just kidding.
And then back out again.
All right.
I like to push that button.
It looks good. It's very fun to push the buttons. We have these buttons. We ever get to push them.
Yep.
Here's a real sort of interesting question here from Elaine.
Go ahead. Well, I'll do it this one. So you've been working hard on those immigrationquestions.us.
I know. I was going a mile a minute.
Yeah. I have a green card that is 45 years old and without an expiration date on the card. Do I need to apply for a new green card? Absolutely, Elaine, you do. That unexpired green card, and now I stopped seeing them, have effectively all by regulations expired. These are expired green cards. You need a new one. So yes, it's very simple. Yeah. But that's a good one.
Yeah. I'm aware of the concept. I don't think I've ever seen one myself. Yeah. Hi, Sam and Brian. Thanks for the great job as always. Are there any restrictions on what type of work can be done on the H-4 EAD? Any restrictions like skilled, non-skilled, etc.? Thanks.
As long as it is lawful work, that's the only restriction.
Yeah, I always say from the janitor up to the CEO, I'd say what the number one thing which we sometimes discover that can get people in trouble working in the marijuana industry is something that can get immigrants in trouble.
Yeah, it's an excellent point.
Yeah.
So we've encountered those issues because under federal law, marijuana, working with anything related to marijuana or
drugs in general.
Even that's legal in your state can destroy your green card.
Your answer is right as long as it's lawful, and that's sort of something that people sometimes don't understand.
Forget that. That's an excellent point, Brian.
Yeah. Let me see here from Nidhi Raz.
All right, many Indians waiting in EB2 will soon become current in EB3, and again, there will be a wave of upgrade and downgrade situations since less people are waiting for EB3.
Looks like we got a part 2 here.
I submitted my medical in 2020 with the original 485 application, submitted again in 2023 during interview. I will be current again in 2 years. Medical RFE will come again, ? So he's asking whether a medical RFE will come again.
Yeah.
I think they've made them non-expirable.
So there's
right?
a date that's yes, but it depends upon when it was signed. And I'm going to look it up right now, provided they still have it on the USCIS website here. I-693 is the medical exam form, and they say here Effective April 4th, 2024, any Form I-693 that was properly completed and signed by a civil surgeon on or after November 1st, 2023 does not expire.
So let's go to our friend here and see what did he, I think he did 2022.
Sometime in 2023 though, I thought, right?
2022?
I submitted it again in 2023 during interview. So basically, if that interview was after November 1st, 2023,
which is not likely because it's the end of the year.
Yeah,
so you might need you might get an RFE if your interview and your medical is pre-November of 2023. Yeah. And the comment on the switching. So EB3 is moving because there's not many people. Correct. That's one of the reasons EB3 is moving.
Most people who, especially from India, they qualify for EB2. They come here for masters or just have lots of experience. Yeah.
So it's going to be it's crazy.
It's going to be a fun seesaw when that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you had a dual I-140s and dual adjustment, you'll be just sitting smoking a cigar waiting for it to happen, as we have advised people.
We're advising people to smoke cigars now, Sam?
Well, to dual file and then smoke a cigar.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm
lame
not...
joke from Brian.
That's
sorry.
Right. Yes.
Almost next one from Next Fatah.
Go ahead, Brian.
My wife is on F1 visa. She graduates in May. We have green card interview in 2 weeks. Should she apply for OPT before the interview or after interview, or wait for green card without applying for OPT? Big picture, don't count. I always tell people not to count their chickens before they've hatched, meaning you don't know when that green card's coming in. If you need to work, get that EAD is the short answer.
Go to the interview. Well, it's April. It's April 16. OPT is $260. That's
is it going to be $520? It's the.
Is it more?
I think it's a full filing. 260 is the EAD when you file with the I-45. I think they make you pay the full fee when you do.
So it's a $500 question.
Yeah.
It's a $500 question. It's a $500 question.
Yeah.
I would go to the interview and get the feel for it. I would get the feel for it.
Yeah.
And if it's looks amazing.
Yeah.
They brought, you walk in and there are flowers on the table waiting to give you a hug and say congratulations for your green card.
Yeah.
You move on.
Yeah.
You're worried about something.
No, I think I'm less worried. I mean, it sounds like this person's the spouse of I'm going to guess this person's the spouse of a U.S. citizen, right? And basically they just want to be able to work, essentially. I'm making up facts. I'm just sort of guessing here, but you don't make it. How about this one? Give me this one. I don't think you make a bad decision if you apply for that. The worst case scenario is it turns out you didn't need it.
And why do you say he's spouse of a U.S. citizen?
I don't know. Wife is on F1 visa. She graduates in May. We have a green card interview in 2 weeks. I'm just trying to think.
It could be employment based.
Yeah, it could be employment based. Yeah.
Yeah. You've made that assumption, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. You could be right. You could be right. Sometimes. Yeah. So next one here. We got a couple minutes here before the try to take two more questions.
Get what we can get here. Is there a way to expedite MYR apart from congressman? MYR, Sam Shihab.
Well, M is motion. Reconsider. MTR maybe.
Maybe MTR. Y is next to. Oh, geez, you're good. T is next to. Maybe it is. MTR. You're right.
MTR apart from congressman. Even a congressman is going to expedite MTR.
Yeah. Basically, when you ask for expedition, you are asking a lot of the government, and MTR scenario incredibly unlikely.
Don't waste your time on that.
I would agree on that one.
Yeah.
So with the cryptically named test here,
my wife H4 and H4 EAD extension got approved in January 2025. New approvals are valid from June 25 to May 28. She traveled to India and came back to the U.S. on March 21st, 2025 by using her old visa. Okay.
Yeah.
Now her I-94 shows June 2025.
Yeah.
People are saying I-94 attached to SNA on the H4 approval document is not valid anymore. Yes, is this true? Yes, it is true. The last action rule is the last I-94 that was issued.
To take effect, right?
Yes. So what's the one that was issued before this? Look at June 25.
Approved in January 2025, which means it's not it doesn't say when it took effect though. You know.
Yeah. So whichever take effect, well, so we have last action rule.
Yep.
And then whichever takes effect later could have precedence over.
I don't think there's enough information for you here to tell us the definitive answer to this one. I think this is the sort of thing where you might have to talk to somebody and show them your documents.
Your documents to give you an answer.
What are the premise, though, that, Sam, you don't abandon a request for extension when you travel outside the United States?
But they have an advance parole, and looks like they have a pending adjustment.
Oh, do they? No, I don't know. They don't. I don't see anything suggested about EAD or AP. I'm seeing H4.
My wife H4 EAD. Oh, H4 EAD. Yeah, that's right. Right. I made the assumptions. Yeah, I read into it wrong. Yeah. I think we need somebody to look at these I-94s and lay them out and go through the facts, and then they're going to say this one is valid, this one is not. So I don't think we have enough information.
They could have done the thing where they give the CBP I-94 up until the old period, knowing that you have a new I-94 attached. Because again, you don't can abandon. An extension of stay is not abandoned by exiting from the country. But
well put.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so this is it for you guys. Thank you so much for giving us half an hour of your time. We'll see you guys Monday at 6 o'clock, and we're going to talk about